The sky was never supposed to bleed.
Not like that.
Not over a quiet forest where no one was watching. But Marcus Chun saw it. And for the next 20 years, he would wish he hadn't. The sound came first. Not a scream. Not an animal. Something wrong. Like glass singing in pain. Marcus froze mid-step. One boot pressed into damp earth, fingers tight around his hunting rifle. The forest had gone silent. No wind. No birds. Even the insects had stopped. That was the first warning. He ignored it. Slowly, carefully, he moved toward the sound. The deeper he went, the colder it felt. Not normal cold. Not weather. Something that crawled under his skin and settled in his bones. Then the trees opened, and the world changed. Moonlight poured into a clearing that hadn't been there before. It shimmered across the ground like liquid metal. And in the center, something moved.
Small.
Fragile.
Wrong.
Marcus stepped closer, and his breath caught. It was a girl. At least it looked like one.
Thin.
Barely the size of a child. Her skin glowed faintly, pale as polished pearl. But it wasn't her face that stopped him. It was her wings. They stretched from her back like shattered stained glass, delicate bones holding fractured membranes that caught the moonlight in impossible colors. One wing was broken, bent at a sick angle. Blood, dark, almost purple, dripped slowly onto the ground. The sound he heard? It was her.
Crying.
But not like a human. It rang through the air like music, broken music. Marcus felt something twist inside his chest.
Fear. Yes.
But something else too. He lowered his rifle. Bad decision. Every instinct screamed at him to run, to leave, to pretend he never saw this. But he didn't. Instead, he stepped forward. Hey, his voice was low, careful. Easy. I'm not gonna hurt you. The girl flinched. Her eyes snapped to him. Too large, too dark, too aware. Predator eyes.
No. Worse.
Intelligent.
She said something. Soft.
Musical. Completely alien. Marcus didn't understand a single word, but he understood the fear. She tried to crawl backward. Her broken wing dragged behind her, and she cried out again. That terrible, beautiful sound. Marcus swore under his breath. Yeah, that's bad, he muttered. Slowly, he shrugged off his jacket. Held it out. No sudden moves, okay? The girl hesitated, watching him.
Studying.
Judging. Then, slowly, she reached out. Her fingers were cold. Too cold. She took the jacket and pulled it around herself like armor. Marcus let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. Good, he said softly. That's good.
He pointed to himself.
Marcus. She tilted her head, eyes narrowing slightly. Then, carefully. Marcus. The way she said it sent a chill down his spine. Not because it was wrong. Because it was almost perfect. He gave a small smile.
Yeah.
Close enough. He pointed at her. What's your name?
She paused.
Then spoke again. A sound like wind through crystal. Marcus blinked. Yeah, I'm gonna mess that up, he admitted. She watched him. Then tried again. Lyra. He nodded. Lyra.
Okay.
I can do that. For a moment, everything felt strangely calm. Two strangers. Two different worlds. Meeting in the middle of nowhere. Then Lyra tried to stand. And collapsed. The moment shattered. She gasped, her body trembling, wings shifting wrong. Marcus moved without thinking. All right, nope, don't do that. He stepped forward. She tensed instantly, fear flashing across her face. But this time, she didn't pull away. That was the moment everything changed. Marcus reached down and lifted her. She weighed almost nothing, like holding air. Her body stiffened in his arms. Every muscle ready to fight, ready to run. But she didn't. She just watched him, studied him, as if trying to understand what he was. Marcus turned toward the trees. Let's get you somewhere warm, he said. Behind them, the clearing shimmered. The moonlight flickered. And for just a second, Marcus thought he saw something in the sky. Something massive. Something watching. Then it was gone. His cabin wasn't far. 10 minutes. 15 at most. But it felt longer. Because Lyra never looked away from him. Not once. Don't worry, he said quietly. You're safe. He didn't know if that was true. Didn't know what she was. Didn't know what might come looking for her. But he said it anyway. Because something deep inside him had already made the choice. He wasn't leaving her. Not like this. Not broken. Not alone. That night, Marcus Chun crossed a line no human had ever crossed. Not with science. Not with technology. But with something far more dangerous. Compassion. And far above the clouds. Something ancient shifted. Something that had been waiting. Watching. Measuring. And for the first time in centuries, it paid attention to Earth. Marcus didn't sleep that night. Not even for a second. The fire crackled low in the cabin, shadows dancing across wooden walls that suddenly felt too small for what they held. Lyra lay on the bed.
Still.
Silent. Watching everything. Even injured. She didn't look weak. She looked controlled. Measured. Like every breath she took was a decision. Marcus moved slowly, keeping his distance as he boiled water over the stove. His mind raced with questions he couldn't answer.
What are you?
Where did you come from? And the one he refused to think too deeply about. Who might come looking for you? You're gonna hate this, he said quietly, holding up a cloth. Lyra's eyes followed the movement.
Sharp.
Focused. He stepped closer. She didn't move away this time. Progress. Your wing, he said, gesturing carefully. It's bad. I need to clean it. She tilted her head, studying his face, as if trying to read intention, not words. Then, slowly, she nodded. Marcus let out a breath. All right, here we go. The moment he touched the wound, her body jerked. A sharp sound escaped her lips, that same glass-like cry. Marcus froze. Hey, I know. He softened his voice. Just a little more. Stay with me. Her fingers tightened around the edge of the blanket. But she didn't pull away. Didn't fight. She endured. And that's when Marcus realized something. She wasn't just strong. She was trained to withstand pain. That thought didn't sit right. He worked carefully, cleaning the dark blood, studying the strange structure beneath the skin. The bones were thinner, lighter, almost hollow. Like a bird. But stronger. Too precise to be natural evolution. You're not from around here, he muttered. Lyra made a faint sound, almost like amusement, despite the pain. Marcus shook his head.
Yeah.
Didn't think so. Hours passed.
Slow work.
Careful hands. Improvised splints made from broken wood and cloth. By the time he finished, the first light of dawn was pushing through the trees. Lyra looked different. Still fragile. But no longer dying. Marcus leaned back in his chair, exhaustion hitting him all at once. You're gonna make it, he said quietly. Lyra watched him. Long silent. Then she spoke. Clear this time.
Why?
Marcus blinked. Why what? Her voice was soft. Careful. Why help? Simple question. Impossible answer. Marcus looked away for a moment, rubbing the back of his neck. Because you needed it. Lyra didn't react. Didn't nod. Didn't smile. She just kept watching him. As if that answer didn't fit into anything she understood. The next few days changed everything. Lyra healed fast. Too fast. By the third day, the bleeding had stopped completely. By the fifth, she could sit up. By the seventh, she was standing. Marcus noticed it before she did. You're not normal, he said, arms crossed. Lyra looked at him. Define normal. He let out a dry laugh. Fair point. But something about it bothered him. Not fear. Not exactly. More like realization. Whatever she was, she wasn't lost. She was something important. Language came next. And that's when things got strange. Water, Marcus said, holding up a cup. Lyra studied it. Water, she repeated.
Perfect.
Too perfect. He frowned. You just started learning yesterday. She tilted her head. Learning fast. That's not fast, Marcus muttered. That's insane. Within days, she was forming sentences. Within a week, conversations. But there were gaps. Strange gaps. Alone, Marcus said one evening. Lyra frowned. Meaning? He hesitated. Being by yourself. No one else. She went still. Her expression didn't change, but something in her eyes did. Confusion. Deep confusion. That does not exist, she said slowly. Marcus stared at her. What? She shook her head slightly. In my kind, never alone. A quiet settled over the room. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Marcus leaned back.
Yeah, well.
Humans do that a lot. Lyra studied him.
Long. Carefully.
And for the first time, he thought he saw something like sadness in her expression. A week later, Marcus asked the question that had been burning in his mind. They were sitting outside. The forest calm again. Too calm. Where are you from? He asked. Lyra looked up. At the sky. Not at the clouds. Beyond them. Her voice was quiet. Far. Marcus followed her gaze. Stars were faintly visible in the early night. His stomach tightened. Space, he asked. She nodded. Simple.
Certain.
My transport destroyed. I fell. Marcus let out a slow breath. Your people, they know you're here? Lyra paused, then shook her head. They believe. I am dead. Something cold slid through Marcus's chest. You can't contact them? A faint sound escaped her lips. Not laughter. Something sadder.
No.
Why? She looked back at the stars. Because they would not come. Marcus frowned. That doesn't make sense. It does, she said calmly. Resources.
Risk.
Distance. She looked at him again. One life is not worth it. The words hit harder than he expected. Marcus stood up, shaking his head. That's wrong. Lyra didn't argue. That is logic. Then your logic sucks, he snapped. Silence. The forest seemed to hold its breath again. Lyra stepped closer.
Slowly.
Humans do not follow logic? Marcus looked at her. No, he said firmly. We follow something else.
What?
He hesitated. Didn't know how to explain it. Didn't even fully understand it himself. Finally, he said, we don't leave people behind. Lyra's eyes widened slightly. And in that moment, something shifted. Not in Marcus. In her. High above the planet. Far beyond human sight. A signal flickered.
Weak.
Ancient. But active. Something had awakened. And it was listening. Back in the forest. Lyra stood very still. As if hearing something Marcus couldn't. Do you hear that? He asked. She didn't answer. Her gaze was locked on the sky. Her wings trembled slightly. Not from injury. From something else. Recognition.
Fear.
Or worse. Expectation. Lyra? Marcus stepped closer. She whispered one word. So soft he almost missed it. They're coming. Marcus froze. Who's coming? She looked at him. And for the first time, since he found her, she looked afraid. Not of him. Not of the forest. But of something far beyond both. My people. The sky didn't open in silence. It screamed. Not with sound alone, but with pressure. A force that bent the air, crushed the trees, and made Marcus drop to one knee without understanding why. His chest tightened. Breath stalled. The axe slipped from his hand. Lyra, he forced out. She stood in the clearing. Wings spread. Face lifted. Waiting. The clouds above twisted. Then tore apart. Not like a storm. Like something had ripped the sky open from the other side. Light poured through. Blinding.
Alive.
And from that light,
they came.
Ships. Endless. Layer upon layer, stretching across the horizon. Smooth, radiant, shifting colors like liquid glass. They moved with impossible precision, forming patterns too perfect to be random. Marcus's vision blurred. His mind couldn't process it. Lyra, what is this? Her answer was calm. Too calm. My people. The largest ship descended. Slow. Dominant. It blocked the sun completely, casting the entire forest into shadow. Marcus felt it then. The difference. This wasn't curiosity. This was power. Absolute. The ship opened. Not metal. Not machinery. It unfolded like a living thing. And something stepped out. It dropped from the sky and landed without a sound. The ground didn't shake, but Marcus did. The figure rose.
Tall.
Elegant.
Terrifying.
Its wings were flawless, wide and radiant, each movement controlled with surgical precision. Its body was wrapped in something like armor, but it flowed like skin. This wasn't just one of her kind. This was something higher. It spoke. Sharp.
Fast.
Musical. But not gentle. Marcus didn't understand the words, but he understood the tone. Anger. Lyra answered.
Her voice steady.
Controlled. The two of them stood facing each other while more figures descended behind. Dozens. Then hundreds. Filling the clearing. Watching. Judging. Marcus's heart pounded. His instinct screamed at him to move, to grab the rifle, to run, to do something. But he didn't. He stayed. Because Lyra didn't move. Because she stood her ground. Lyra, he whispered. What's it saying? She didn't look at him. He says I failed. Marcus swallowed. Failed what? My purpose. My duty. My species. The commander stepped forward. Pointed at Marcus. Spoke again, short, cold. Lyra's wings shifted slightly. Tension. He asks why I stayed with a human. Marcus let out a breath. Good question.
She turned then.
Looked straight at him. I told him the truth. Something in her voice made Marcus stand a little straighter. What truth? That I found something worth staying for. The commander's tone sharpened. More aggressive. The air seemed to tighten. He says you are weak, Lyra continued. Emotional. Unstable. Marcus gave a dry, humorless smile. Yeah, heard that before. He says your kind destroys what it fears. Marcus didn't argue, because he knew sometimes that was true. The commander stepped closer. Energy built around him. Not visible, but heavy, like the moment before lightning strikes. Marcus's hand twitched. Lyra caught it instantly, her grip firm. Do not, she whispered. Marcus looked at her, then at the hundreds surrounding him. Slowly, he lowered his hand.
Choice.
Again, Lyra stepped forward. Between him and all of them, her wings spread. Imperfect. One still slightly uneven, but unbroken. And then, she spoke. Not softly, not carefully, but with force. Her voice rang across the clearing. That same music, but now it carried weight, authority, emotion. Marcus couldn't understand the words, but he felt them. Every single one. She wasn't defending herself. She was defending him. The commander didn't interrupt. None of them did. They listened. When she finished, silence. Heavy. Unmoving. Marcus's pulse roared in his ears. What did you say? He asked quietly. Lyra didn't turn. I told them what you did.
His chest tightened.
What I did? She nodded. I told them a human found me broken. Her voice softened. Afraid. Alone. A pause. I told them he chose kindness without knowing what I was. Marcus swallowed hard. I told him he protected me when my own kind would not come. The commander stepped closer. Close enough now that Marcus could see his face clearly. Different, but not monstrous. Just older, colder. And now, thinking. The moment stretched. Then, slowly, the commander lowered himself to one knee. Marcus blinked. Confused. Behind him, another followed. Then another. Then all of them. Hundreds of beings, kneeling. The forest went completely still. Marcus felt something shift inside him. Something deep. Lyra, his voice barely held. What is happening? She turned to him, her eyes bright. He says humanity has been judged. Marcus frowned. Judged how? She stepped closer. He says any species capable of showing compassion to the unknown, without reward, without command. Her voice trembled. Is not weak. Marcus stared at her. He says, you are different. The commander looked directly at Marcus. No anger now. No contempt. Only recognition. He says, you are ready. Marcus let out a slow breath. For what? Lyra smiled. Soft. Real. For everything beyond your sky. The commander spoke one final time. Lyra translated. He welcomes humanity as equals. Marcus looked up, at the sky filled with ships, at the impossible becoming real. All because he didn't walk away. All this, Marcus whispered, from one choice. Lyra took his hand.
Warm. Steady.
Yes.
She squeezed gently.
Because you saw a person, not a monster. Marcus exhaled, a quiet, human sound, and for the first time, since the sky broke, he smiled. Above them, the fleet waited, not as conquerors, but as witnesses. And in a small forest clearing, a single human proved something the universe had forgotten. Kindness was the strongest force of all.